It looks like our winter is on schedule to be one of our top 10 warmest, all thanks to our third warmest January on record. We only had 2 days that were colder than average. Now, this pattern has been continuing right into February with more days into the 50s and 60s, especially within the last week. That trend is likely to continue. And really, a lot of us are enjoying this, but there are some that do count on the cold.
We're called Shadestone Farm. We're named for the mountain behind us, and the original farm building is made out of stone. We are located in Beaver Springs, Pennsylvania. We have trees up to the top of this first ridge. It's 131 acres, and we probably have 70 in woods, and that's where the maples are.
Sugar maple trees are native to Pennsylvania, but are not that densely populated until you get into the colder regions of the state.
We're about an hour north of Harrisburg. And in that area, we're kind of on the southern edge of I would say, the sugar bush of Pennsylvania, where we're sitting on the north side of Shade Mountain and in a little bit of a hollow. So a lot of the cold air kind of sits down in this hollow, and we've kept a lot of our maple trees.
Their sugar shack is relatively new, containing all the necessary parts required to evaporate the sap into a natural sugary syrup, all while sustainably using solar power and renewable resources to run the evaporator throughout the winter.
Your season is governed by really two factors. The weather, for one, when are the nights cold and the days warm, and the other is when you actually drill that first hole.
Peak sugar season is typically mid-February until the end of March. As soon as the hole is drilled and the tap is inserted into the tree, it takes about 6 weeks until the tree seals and heals at the tap, preventing additional sap flow. So during that 6-week period, weather conditions are critical in producing the quantity and quality of the sap that will eventually become syrup.
When the ground freezes nice and hard for several weeks, we will see the concentration of sugar in the sap increase. Normally, when we pull raw sap out in our woods, we generally see about 2% sugar in that sap. This year, we're only getting about 1% sugar in the sap. And that is mainly because we only had about a week of good, solid ground freeze. And so that will mean essentially that we're going to have to cook twice as much sap to get the same amount of syrup. This is what we call the Eastwood, and what you see are the maple trees, and this particular grove of maple trees is fairly dense. Every maple tree has taps on it.
Concerned about the warm winter, Shadestone Farm decided to tap half of their trees in January. Even our coldest month of the year had difficulty dropping below freezing to create ideal sap flow.
Not only do you need those freezing nights and warm days, that creates a barometric pressure differential in the trees, and that's what actually causes the sap to move up and down the trees.
Now entering the peak of syrup season, John's family is tapping the rest of their trees this week.
It has been quite variable, and I think that's probably the biggest thing that we've noticed is it's almost so changeable that it's hard to say what a typical season is anymore.
And it is going to be challenging for maple syrup producers for the rest of February. Here's the remainder of February outlook. We expect this to be one of the top 5 warmest, with most days to be 10 to 20 degrees warmer than average. There might be some colder weather to end the month, which is likely going to result in what's going to be some drier than normal conditions, but also well below normal snowfall too. Now, if you still want some of that maple syrup, Shadestone Farm, Alicia and Valerie, they will have some maple syrup, and they do have an open house. That's going to be the first weekend in March. In case anyone's interested, they can go to shadestonefarm.com, and they actually take you on some wagon rides, kind of show you the whole process. So it's kind of neat. It's that time to get to the sugar house.
Yeah. That was so interesting, Eric. Yeah. Thank you very much.
All really based on what we see weather-wise in the wintertime. So love the warm weather, but could use some of that cold sometimes.
I
love my maple syrup.
Yes.
Real maple syrup. All right.